the past week, you might have noticed that I've been mostly silent on all my social medias and haven't uploaded any videos, especially in regards to Zombie's recent video on me, which omits a lot of context, is extremely hypocritical, and flat out lies in numerous intervals. And the craziest part is, he tries to call me evil and guilty because I didn't upload a response video yet. This dude's pretending like the world revolves around YouTube. The real reason I wasn't uploading at all during this week wasn't at all related to any videos about me, and it's kind of insane to even insinuate that. This might come off as a newsflash: the world doesn't revolve around YouTube or Roblox drama. The reason I've been gone basically for a week, maybe a week and a half now, was because of a very serious illness that I had going on with my ears. Now, just to make a long story really short, around 10-ish days ago when I lost hearing in both of my ears, I started feeling an excruciating amount of pain coming from my inner ear. This effectively rendered me useless in doing anything I needed to do to actually make a video. I couldn't speak because the pain from the inner ear traveled across my jaw to the point where it hurt to speak, and, well, as many of you know, speaking is kind of a main thing with YouTube videos. Now, all jokes aside, I had to travel across the country to basically get to a doctor who could actually diagnose what was going on with me. And then after he got diagnosed, I had to sit in that state for a week to get the medication to actually start working. Now, thankfully, as I'm recording this video, it's all good now. But unfortunately, during the time that I was gone, someone made a hit-piece video on me that got 100,000 views, and people just started once again spreading misinformation about me without actually waiting to hear out my side, which is kind of insane considering how many times this has happened now. So again, just like my previous video titled "We Need to Talk," which I highly recommend you watch after this video, as it offered the full context to many claims against me, which people are still unfortunately spreading about me to this day. So once again, I ask you to hear my response in my side of the situation, because I find it extremely pathetic that Zombie has decided to upload what serves as a hit piece video to try and tarnish my credibility without privately consulting me first. He then decides to make statements further, attempting to take my silence or lack of a response as a form of guilt, or that I'm hiding from criticism rather than correcting myself. He's even bragged about gatekeeping evidence against me and subtly threatened to drop it all on a later basis. So let's get into dissecting his video filled with lies.
Let's talk about Gwango. I'll go ahead and say it right out of the gate, but I am not a fan of Gwango, and I do not like his content at all. I think he's responsible for a large amount of astroturfing and misinformation spread in certain Roblox situations, and for a guy who seems to kind of only talk about Roblox drama, he's really out of touch with some things, you know? If ChatGPT is not putting it in the script, dude doesn't know what he's talking about.
Now in Zombie's video, he utilizes many examples of buzzwords to essentially degrade the information that I presented in my content. He claims that I astroturf situations, and even openly claims that I use ChatGPT for my scripts. Furthermore, he goes the extra mile to claim that I have actively pushed forward misinformation, yet for any of these large accusations, he offers no substantial evidence or examples at all. It's purely just speculative remarks that he's made, which he spins as definitive fact, and of course, children who are predispositioned into hating me are simply just going to believe it. It's painfully obvious that I do not use ChatGPT for my scripts, and there's nothing to even challenge or refute here. He makes his dubious claim with no evidence, and the burden of proof falls onto him, which, just for the record, he has no evidence whatsoever. Then, in a large example of hypocrisy, Zombie attempts to virtue signal and claim that I made an extremely tone-deaf thumbnail and refused to change it in regards to the topic of Ren threatening and sell farm on her Blue Sky account. His proof of this was a thumbnail I had where it states "she is gone."
I'll give a quick example because it's not the entire point of the video, but a situation that I've been covering pretty heavily, that being the pressure situation, had a development recently that involved Ren posting a series of messages on her Blue Sky account and responding to a post basically threatening and talks of. And you'd think, as someone who, I don't know, stays on top of drama and talks a lot about Roblox drama, you'd be able to read the room a little better and maybe change the thumbnail on your most recent video of the pressure situation talking about how Ren is gone. Like, dude, people know that Ren threatens, and you still have this as your thumbnail? Like, it didn't happen long after you posted this video. I think you gotta read the room a little better here, buddy.
Now, Zombie's point is extremely disingenuous and hypocritical, so please allow me to explain really quickly. Essentially, he attempts to virtue signal against the fact that my video, which covered Ren abandoning her aliases after the season desist and her seemingly leaving the internet, had the thumbnail "she is gone." He attempts to make the point that 3 days after my video, keyword thereafter, it was revealed that Ren had posted concerning statements involving Self-Harm and ideation on her blue sky. So me still having the thumbnail, "She is gone," is apparently retroactively extremely disrespectful, as I should have changed it. This, of course, is sidestepping the fact that I was planning on uploading another video covering the new information in a respectful manner, but eventually abstained from publishing it, as I believe that making a video on something as serious as Ren's breakdown would be very insensitive and disrespectful, something that you were clearly not dissuaded from. Also, it's bitterly ironic for you, Zombie, to proclaim yourself to be virtuous on your high horse when you yourself have made similar, if not a more tone-deaf thumbnail on how Ren had purged your socials with a thumbnail reading, "Damn, she deleted everything," with embarrassing and cringe artwork slammed in the thumbnail to generate more clicks, clearly not taking the situation seriously at all. And what a surprise, you didn't seem to have changed the thumbnail either. Instead of actually criticizing any misinformation that you claim is embedded in my videos, you go for attacking my thumbnails, which are irrelevant to the situation, and claim I should go back to suddenly change them, while you have arguably worse thumbnails, and yet you didn't do that either. I've seen people complaining about my thumbnails, but for some reason have arguably worse thumbnails, and yet you didn't do that either. I've seen people complaining about my thumbnails, but for some reason they actually fail to understand that my thumbnails are formatted in a way so the viewer is easily able to understand what the video talks about. When Ren abandoned her platform, you yourself made crude jokes literally comparing her absence and departure to which wasn't humorous. It was extremely gross and immature, and you attempted to pathetically backtrack instead of removing the post or even apologizing. Even your own video covering Ren's breakdown, you insert your character in the thumbnail and video, which again is extremely tone deaf, and the video didn't even need to be made in the first place. You made the situation about yourself, narcissistically inserted yourself into a situation to do with someone's a mental breakdown, and again, still refused to even at bare minimum remove the post you made only 3 days prior, comparing Ren to. So if you want a virtue signal about this point, try fixing your own first. Even more embarrassingly was your constant posts attempting to boast about winning the war, that the war was over when it came to the Ren's allegations, which you attempted to claim you were neutral over. Zombie has time and time again attempted to interject himself into the situation and has always made it about him. It actively feeds his ego. Zombie essentially saw an opportunity to make another video on the situation because it garnered him views, and he wanted to use the situation to his benefit and to put himself on a pedestal and to distance himself from the fact that his countless posts on her obviously contributed to her declining mental health. He literally made more than 26 videos milking the situation, and this wouldn't have even needed to be brought up or made clear in this video I'm making if he didn't try to swing at me completely out of the blue, unprompted. without him even privately consulting me, and ended up looking like a disingenuous, callous hypocrite in the process. Now, for this upcoming segment, I do want to make this extremely clear right now. I know a lot of people are probably going to call me a hypocrite, and I want to explain how that wouldn't apply to this in the context of this segment. I would be hypocritical if I had originally accused Zombie of milking situations or creating clickbait thumbnails and being egotistical. However, Zombie attacked me with these claims first, so everything I'm bringing up currently is just to prove that he's no better than me, at least according to him. Whatever criticism he attempts to use to degrade my content or claim that I'm spreading misinformation or whether I don't care about the topics I cover can equally be used right back at him. Because again, keep in mind, I did not start this drama. I did not provoke or instigate the situation. He completely came at me first. And just for the record, before I even continue this segment, I do want to clarify, I obviously care about the things that I talk about. Otherwise, I wouldn't be spending the amount of time that I do into researching every single topic I cover. You'll always find people talking about me, my thumbnails, or anything else, but you'll rarely see someone insulting the research that I do in a video. Aside from Zombie, because he just decided to make it up, but we'll get into that in this video in a minute. So in Zombie's video covering the Dandy's World situation, specifically a document talking about child and to which he knew the contents of since he literally read out the trigger warnings himself at the start of the video, he had no problem benefiting himself from the serious situation by stating in the description, and I quote, "If you guys like the video and want to support me and my stuff, make sure to subscribe and hit that like." It's been almost 2 weeks since there have been any real updates about the Roblox YouTuber Qwel, who hasn't been seen online for nearly a month now, mainly due to his arrest on September 11th. Entire situation to his arrest on September 11th, which happened in the middle of the night, as we've discussed in prior videos. In those prior videos that I made, quote, "If you guys like the video and want to support me," he always uses that his videos aren't monetized, if that even is true, is completely redundant because he's more than aware that he's benefiting in a myriad of different other ways. He still gets donations from commenters, he still gets subscribers, watch time, and Discord members in the process. And to once again shut down any deflectionary point here, as fans will obviously try to make, he attempted to virtue signal this against me first, pretending he is any better than my channel when he simply is not. This is just an example of a guy playing high and mighty and feigning off of forced and manufactured outrage. You can't feign the idea that you're a perfect, virtuous person, Zombie, when you do the exact same things you claim I do. Even in this hit piece video you crafted against me, which, mind you, revolves around two large topics to do with the mental breakdown situation and Qwel's behavior around other minors who were younger than her, you had no problem, of course, placing your socials down below in hopes that you could harvest more traction in the process. It seems that the rules in your mind apply for everyone else other than yourself. Now, the next point of contention that Zombie includes in this terrible video was the recent video I published covering Qwel's alleged inappropriate conversations in a Discord group chat containing minors aged between 13 to allegedly 10, while she herself was 15 and apparently knew their ages.
But that's not the reason why I'm making this video. The reason I'm making this video is because of his most recent coverage of the Dandy's World situation and how he takes an allegation that is a complete nothing burger and stretches it into a 10-minute long unnecessary video that did not need to exist. You did not need to make this video. Hell, you didn't even need to make a community post about it. That's how nothing burger of a situation this was. But your only goal here is to make money, to spread misinformation, and its goal here is to make money, to spread misinformation, and it's disgusting.
Now, off the bat, what I find disgusting is the belittlement he induces towards the situation and the staunch defense he has towards Qwel for this specific situation. First, he claims I overblew the entire situation in video, and a video didn't need to be made covering it. This is, of course, the information being in the public domain, and with it already going viral. Zombie effectively wants to police what video topics can and can't be created. Nevertheless, the accusation was extremely large and carried a lot of stigma, especially with the fact that it was levied against Qwel, who was extremely popular, very controversial, and really loves her lawsuits. It was a situation worth covering and clarifying to people who were confused because a lot of misinformation was being thrown around with the incorrect terms being used. And for Zombie to claim that this video was filled with misinformation, yet providing all evidence, is simply laughable because he is once again trying to throw around buzzwords around to see what sticks. The alleged age gap in accusations were concerning and should have been addressed, as it involved Qwel, who was a 15-year-old in 2019, making based comments in a Discord group chat towards other minors who are considerably younger than Qwel. Keep in mind too that Qwel was the same person years later to continue to privately associate with and defend her friend Rox while she was an adult, so people believed there could be something far deeper in play here that explained her later actions. The burner account, which whistleblew the information, provided many examples of video recordings and even stated that Qwel's behavior was allegedly a lot worse on other social media platforms which they no longer have access to or can't retrieve evidence from. The burner also claimed that Qwel knew their ages, to which Discord mobile recordings were provided showing that she knew a user was 13 with another person stating they were 11. Now in the video, I actually stated verbatim that this wasn't behavior. However, it was concerning. I was even one of the first people to publicly state that the Discord message of the user claiming they were 11 was edited, meaning there was a chance they lied about their age, and retroactively went back to change it as the user under them stated they were 13 too, meaning that the response could only have been sent if the person before it stated they were 13 beforehand.
Is that these are almost 7-year-old group chats, and Qwel at the time was also talking to other minors about this kind of stuff. You see how that took almost 30 seconds to explain? You didn't need to beat around the bush for 10 minutes trying to allude to the fact that maybe this is weird or that this is edgy. You could have just, I don't know, maybe not have made a video on it, not alluded to the fact that Qwel is doing some diabolical shit with an 11-year-old, like in your thumbnail and in the title of the video, which kind of misinforms the viewers that they're clicking on something, instead of maybe disproving the allegations that are heading towards this person's way. But you're not worried about disproving anything. You want to lead along a narrative and you want to get all that mid-roll ad revenue that you can get. Like, dude, it's so apparent you don't care.
The fact that Zombie attempts to virtue signal against the publication of this video is quite baffling, and he even attempts to complain about the thumbnail, in which he claims is disingenuous and makes the viewer believe that Qwel is a despite the fact that if you simply watch the video for a couple minutes, it's stated numerous times that she is not. I also find it extremely ironic once again that he attempts to virtue signal against my thumbnails that covered a accusation when he himself has made thumbnails comparing someone he called out to Epstein, a notorious child with countless victims. No matter if the person he's accusing of is guilty or not, this is a prime example of Zombie attempting to criticize someone for what he does himself in arguably a much larger extent. He also tries to criticize the fact that I allude to Qwel being weird and edgy, which is a pretty insane take to have, because these comments were objectively extremely weird to be making to individuals who are alleged to be far younger than Qwel herself. Also, his criticism towards the thumbnail was recently made completely redundant when more information was presented, which was not available over a week ago, showing that the same user who had edited the message to state that he was 11, right under the message actually clarifying that he was turning 12, meaning there was definitive proof that the 11-year-old made their age known in a group chat that allegedly contained Qwel. So this example of straw grasping that Zombie is made with this completely pointless video is effectively nullified. They were 11 and Qwel most likely knew. The thumbnail is objectively true. Again, Zombie is trying to be pedantic and farm fake outrage. What I also do find more pathetic is Zombie is further attempting to me for not updating my video on the situation with this new screenshot information, essentially taking my silence and unexpected departure as a sign of me being guilty or hiding from correcting myself, which is not the case at all. This even brings up another logical question. If Zombie has been in drama and arguments with users such as Sharky Leo, and yet later talked with him in private and publicly acknowledged there was an overreaction misunderstanding, then how has he still not learned that he should maybe just have contacted me about all this instead of callously dropping a hit piece video on me? Especially during the whole situation that I was facing with my health. Zombie's a grown adult who's 20 years old, and yet he handled this whole entire situation like a child. Now, the last minute of this video is essentially Zombie just regurgitating buzzwords once again and claiming that I have spread misinformation with absolutely no evidence whatsoever. But this is not where my problem with Zombie ends. Recently, he attempted to gain contact with my ex-editor who was 14 years old and made comments stating that apparently he has been informed by individuals that I forge evidence against those I dislike. When he was asked for literally any proof whatsoever, he instead responds admitting that he has none, which is of course no surprise because he's literally attempting straw grasp for any point possible. After being told by Arham about previous malicious ex-employees like Delta, who's most likely the one who claimed this, Zombie seemed to have come to the understanding that it most likely was a baseless rumor. Because keep in mind, Delta has a long documented history of making extremely controversial comments towards minors. He's threatened me with financial blackmail when things didn't go their way, and leaked private calls in Discord servers which contain confidential information out of spite to objectively horrible people, such as the people on kiwi farms, who literally have a account. Delta is also still allowed to be present in Zombie's Discord server, so he must have refused to do any background checks into the disgusting individuals he keeps in his community, or he knows about Delta's actions and continues to keep him involved in his circles regardless. And just for the record, when the new revelations came out about Qwel's situation too, proving that the 11-year-old made their age known, Arham recommended that Zombie simply just remove his video attacking me from my Qwel video and thumbnail, since his initial points were now heavily disregarded, since Qwel most likely knew the age of the child, rendering the thumbnail objectively true. Instead, Zombie hits back and wrongly claims that his point still stood, as according to him, the situation didn't need a video. He then deflects to a different topic, pressing Arham, who, mind you, is 14, on why he's defending me, further attempting to relitigate old points such as the jokes I made in private adult group chats. Claims, by the way, that I have fully addressed before in previous publicly accessible videos. When Arham correctly responds, asking to see any available evidence that I have not already responded to and addressed, Zombie essentially gatekeeps what he has and refuses to show anything, insidiously claiming that he will save it all for a rainy day. Arham then criticizes Zombie and why he's gatekeeping the evidence instead of just actually maturely sorting it out with me in private, to which Zombie refuses to respond to, dodges. I mean, is it wrong to even call this guy a man-child? Because in my opinion, his behavior is quite literally that of a man-child. Now, just to be completely frank here, this is a video I really didn't want to make, especially at a time where I was going through all this horrible and to see people like Zombie, who aren't even given me the time to respond, and immediately just start attacking me for my silence, is disgusting. Especially when many of his points are either extremely disingenuous or overly hypocritical. It is obvious that this video is deep-rooted in jealousy, because for some reason he has been deeply personally affected that I've made the same type of videos as him. This video was clearly created to knock out the competition when it comes to covering serious situations, and I'm quite surprised no one picked up on his video being exactly that. I've never wronged this guy or done anything to elicit such a malicious reaction like he provided. I hope the situation can be sorted, but judging by this guy's behavior and messages to my mutuals, it's pretty obvious that he's gonna go to try and extend the situation for his own benefit. Again, for the last time, I'm not attacking Zombie for things that I've done first. That would obviously make me a hypocrite. I'm just highlighting the things that he has done and attempted to criticize me for. I'm honest and open about what kind of content I produce, but the fact that Zombie acts like holier than thou is embarrassing and painfully narcissistic. Anyways, despite Zombie not stating this in his video, that has led to many users making insane false claims about me in his comments. Please don't go harass him or him. I just want the situation